Hello and welcome to Spirit Touched. We're going to talk about the full Shalem, which means everything that you will ever need. When it comes to blessings, there's a Hebrew word term called the full Shalem, which is everything the Lord has for us. Malachi 3:10 tells us to put him to the test via our giving. When we do, the windows of heaven open up and blessings start overflowing, as in Luke 6:38. That tells us God takes what we give him, presses it down, shakes it together, and gives it back to us through our fellow believers and even non believers. Look at 1 Samuel 38, where at Ziklag, David thought he had lost everything, but God says, "No, I will give everything back to you." Verse 18 tells us he did indeed give it all back. The same thing happened to Job, who got back twice what he lost in Job 1, 2, and 3, and in 41, 19, and 11, and 12. Check out Proverbs in 11, 24, and 25. It gives proof that we can never outgive God. His storehouse is always full, no matter how many blessings he sends out. God is really good at multiplying. I know because I once went to a church with a year-round food ministry. One Thanksgiving, we only had 202 turkeys, yet we gave away 428. The next year, we had 400 and gave away almost twice that many. Those turkeys were in the freezer in a locked room, so only God could have multiplied them. Another year, a toy company gave us $1 million worth of toys so that come Christmas, each child in the families who got a food basket got a toy. Why did that company give the toys? Because they'd heard about the food ministry and they wanted to bless us with those toys to give for Christmas gifts to needy families. It took our volunteers and their spouses 4 nights to wrap all those toys except the bikes and footballs. In 1 Kings 17, 1 through 16 is the story of Elijah and the widow. When her when he stayed at her house with her and her son when he was in town. At that time, there was a famine in the area. Yet, while Elijah was at her house, she had enough oil and flour to keep them in bread until it was over. Then in verse 17, her son dies, and she blames Elijah. Yet he takes her son to his room, lays him on the bed, and prays for him. God hears and brings the son back to life. Because she gave to the man of God, she had enough to get all three through that famine. It also works in reverse. When you give to the poor, you will always have enough. In fact, you will have more than enough. Matthew 10:42. Even giving a cup of water in his name to a thirsty person is like giving it to Jesus. The person who lives, Psalm 23:5 verse, is the person who drinks from the saucer, because their cup is indeed overflowing. That person doesn't have to ask God to fill their cup. On the other hand, those who hoard their wealth in fear of not having enough, thus not helping the widows and orphans, never have enough and are always wanting more. God calls that greed, and he hates it. Those who are greedy forget that everything they have is a gift from God, that they don't earn it, is only that they don't earn it, it's only a loan to be used for the use of his kingdom. That window in Luke 21:2-4 gave that widow woman in Luke 21:2-4 gave every penny she had, yet she was the wealthiest woman in that town. Why? Because she understood this idea of the full Shalem, and she knew God would take care of her. Our God not only restores lost souls, he restores lost property. Just call him the God of the lost and found. All of it comes from his amazing grace. Martha's sister Mary found her full Shalem sitting at the feet of Jesus, listening to his words of truth. What is that truth? That little becomes much when you place it in the Master's hands. Just as the little boy whose lunch ended up feeding all those people that day. You can never outgive God, because he never runs out of anything, especially of his love for you. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is always more than enough, which is the full Shalem. You may send your prayer request to He Answers TWO@gmail.com.